Thanks for tuning into the Carrie Handle podcast. Here's your hosts, Bryce and Kevin.
Welcome back to the Carrie Handle podcast. With me, as always, is Kevin with upside down glasses that nobody else can see. How are you, Kevin?
Wait, my glasses are upside down?
You are a man of perfect timing and comedy. You
No
should
wonder
never quit your day job.
I can't. I don't want to quit my day job.
This is why I don't classify the podcast as comedy, because we're bad at this. But
We're not
before I get too
bad at
fucking
this.
deep into this, hold on. Before I get too deep into this and forget.
You're already too deep.
That's what I said. Friends of the channel. We're Jesus. We're gonna thank my beautiful wife Hannah up top for orchestrating this whole nonsensical thing that I do online as a 30-year-old man. Thank you, sweetheart. Very much appreciate you putting up with this and making this possible. Hammy 3D prints, thousands of products for firearm storage and other fun stuff. Carry Handle 10 or whatever permeation you want to use. I kept forgetting for a while, and there's like a bunch of discounts. You can pretty much try any of them. Hammy probably will make them work. 10% off. We don't get any kickbacks. Just great dude, friend of the channel. We got actually the person that did this ad read for me because I'm incompetent and couldn't do it myself. 19 Charlie Tactical Mike is he's the owner. He's a great dude, friend of the channel. 19 Charlie Tactical for gunsmithing, Kydex holsters, thousands of dropship gun parts, accessories, tools, and firearms. If you have a HK, AK, whatever thing you have in your brain, Mike can fix it for you. He can unfuck it for you, and he's just an all right fella. Last but certainly not least, Eastern Shore Sling Company, handmade rifle slings and custom sewing, dog leashes as well. They're Maryland company. Kevin and I, Maryland boys, we like the Maryland boys. So Eastern Shore Sling Company, Carry Handle, 10% off. I also didn't say the 19 Charlie Tactical 10%. The Carry Handle 10 for 10% off 19 Charlie Tactical. So today, you could probably tell by the name of the episode, but we have Caleb Giddings from Taurus and of the YouTubes. Hello, sir.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Doing all right. Well, so for maybe a couple people that don't know who you are, would you mind giving us a bit of an intro to who you are, sir?
My big boy job is I am the general manager of marketing for Taurus USA. I have been, fun fact, I have officially been in the industry for 20 years now. My first published article was the year of our Lord 2006. So I am much older than this beautiful baby face makes me appear. I don't know if they can see my face. I don't know if we're doing audio. Where's my camera?
No, this one's just for us.
Okay.
You gotta paint them a picture for their mind.
Paint them a picture. Imagine a 45-year-old man that looks 30. There we go. But also is perfect. The size of Gimli without the beard. Yes. That's it. Gimli sans beard. There we go. That's me.
I think you and Kevin are actually same height.
But so general manager of marketing, Taurus USA. I've been in the industry for quite some time now. Really, what I made my name for was a content creator back when that wasn't a dirty word. I have written for every major firearms publication from Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, to all of the NRA books, and pretty much everyone in between. And that was kind of how I ended up landing at Taurus USA. But I shoot a little bit too, just a little bit on the side.
Just sometimes.
Just for
just
funsies.
a tad.
That was actually
sometimes
how.
Funsies.
Well, okay, so the real story is, as has happened to many people in this space, I had like a real normal job. I was a state farm agent, and I wanted to finance my shooting hobby. So I figured, oh, well, I can write. I'm okay at this. So I started writing articles for the burgeoning internet at the time to pay for my shooting hobby, and that sort of snowballed into this thing. I ended up on a TV show called Top Shot that some of you have heard of. A lot of people have watched with their dads, which hurts my feelings that you're so young. I had a dude say that to me at a match. He was like, oh, dude, I watch you on Top Shot with my dad. I'm like, stop talking to me.
Good woof.
Wow.
But so Top Shot was what gave me the ability to quit being a state farm agent and do this full time, because it was so new and so novel that a lot of us who were on the show were able to kind of grab for that brass ring and use it to get brand deals. You know, we were like the OG gun influencers. And, you know, parlay that into a full-time career. And as I say to my wife, I haven't had a real job since.
That's kind of the dream, though. That's pretty cool.
So
it is,
so you know,
yeah, it is a lot of fun
because you've seen a thing or two.
It's interesting. I like a synergetic hobby to career evolution. That's really interesting.
It is.
So the thing I know you a little bit more for is your presence on Pistol Forum and your interesting YouTube career in terms of the content creation, from being like the range officer and the 1911 reviews and the revolvers. And so that's, I followed you before you were Mr. Revolver. So whatever that was.
So yeah,
Wow.
so I was on. So I was actually I was one of the original 10 members of Pistol Forum. Like one of the first 10 people to join. The founder of Pistol Forum, Todd Lewis Green, R.I.P., was a close personal friend of mine, and he told me that he was going to start a forum, and that it was going to be a place where, you know, basically like serious fucking shooting people would hang out. And he asked me to join, and I was like, absolutely, Todd, you're my boy. And so I was one of the very OG members of Pistol Forum, and I still am I'm way less active than I used to be. But I'm still somewhat active on it. And then for a time frame, so the 1911 thing, I did a whole series of videos where I shot nothing but 1911s, and I put some 1911s through some fairly serious test protocols. And I did that because at the time, another guy that I'm really good friends with, Hilton Yam of 10-8 Performance, he had been the preeminent online like knowledge source of 1911s. And then he very much stepped back from the online space because he was still at the time an active FBI agent and he had a lot of shit going on. And I was like, well, somebody needs to talk about 1911s on the internet. I fucking like 1911s. I guess I'll do it. And so I did that for a while, and then Hilton came back, and I worked for Beretta. I was not an employee, but I was a contractor with Beretta for a while, so I did a lot of stuff with the 92. I probably to this day hold the highest round count on the APX pistol, their semi-automatic striker-fired gun. I did a ton of stuff with Beretta for a while, and, you know, kind of just freelanced my way around the industry before landing with Taurus. But the revolver thing has actually been a fairly consistent thing for some time.
Yeah, I remember it'd be 1911 video, Dan Weston review, whatever, the 10-8 1911 test, and then it'd be just K-frame with a fucking acro revolvers. Or something like, or like GP 100. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just some really weird stuff.
Yeah. I remembered you were very critical in a way, especially touching on the 1911 thing. We're big fans of Hilton Yam. We've actually had him on the show, and we I'm a massive fan. I bought the first 10-8 performance part I bought when I was 16 years old, before I could buy a gun in Maryland. I was like, I know I'm gonna own this eventually, but actually, I have one of his magwells on my M&P. I got it to work on the M&P 45.
He did. He made so much money off of his M&P parts because he was one of very few people that was working on him and Apex Tactical at that time. That was the 2013-14 time frame. We're kind of the only guys who were doing anything that was worth a shit for the M&P. He made a T-shirt that had like a really hot ginger with an M&P, and at the time I was married to my second wife, who was a ginger who shot M&P, so of course I had that T-shirt. When I got divorced, I burned it, but you know.
Well, wow.
Incredible. I had his he released a really cool M&P, the ATEI one, where it was just like the blacked out shirt and it was just the slide. I think I still have that shirt somewhere, but that shit, he had some good designs, but just aesthetically.
So at SHOT Show this year, he did the masterclass collab with Springfield Armory, honestly. And like,
Yep.
I say this, like, not Hilton's a friend, and and he and I talked about this, but like at this point in my career, yeah, release another polymer frame striker fire 9 millimeter. That's cool. Love it. I'm happy to see it. Release your 4000th 2011 clone. That's fine. Whatever. 2011 clones are just, they're Glock 19s now. They're completely uninteresting to me. Right. But like that Masterclass 1911, I was like,
that fucks. It fucks.
I'm like, oh, I need this. And then, and the crazy thing is and I don't, for the record, like I don't work for Springfield Armory or anything like that, but like it's only like $2,500. That's a stupid price.
It's 2,100.
Okay,
it's even better than that.
So it's
$100 more than a TRP.
It's $2,000. That is a stupid good price for a gun like that. I would climb over a mountain of staccatos or staccatos or staccatos or whatever you're calling those things to get to one of those guns because it's so cool. And like, and that's it's very, very cool because I also know I have a friend who actually owns one of his alphanumeric builds. I have a friend who owns Echo. And I know,
which is the serrations that's based on. I love
and
that.
I know how much my friend paid for Echo. So you should definitely go buy a Masterclass 1911 for $2,000. Like, just trust me on this one.
Any of his factory collaboration guns, they are now the one that I'm going to buy is not going to be an investment. I'm going to beat the fuck out of that gun. I'm very excited. But
so anyway, welcome to the Hilton Yam podcast, starring these three white dudes.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what happened.
Well, welcome to the Hilton Yam fanboy club.
I went back when we were at SHOT Show. I went back to that same booth like 12 times. I tricked Kevin once, but the rest of it, he was like,
got me.
It's fine.
He got me one time. He tripped me up one time. I was like, oh, damn it, we're back here again.
I keep going back.
The next 10 times, I already knew what was happening. I was just like, whatever.
You're like, I know where we're going.
Like, go for it. Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, just go.
You're not original. Okay, well, we should. Oh, wait. Didn't you do one of your 1911 tests? Wasn't it on a Taurus PT 1911?
It was. It was on a 9mm Taurus PT 1911, and this was over 10 years ago. This would have been 2013, 2014 time frame-ish. So it was before it was definitely before the Taurus that exists today. Because what people don't know about Taurus is that in 2018-ish, Taurus Brazil had basically cleaned out their leadership, their senior leadership, right? And then they were like, cool, senior leadership in Brazil cleaned out, time to do the same thing in the United States and solve this Taurus reputation problem, which resulted, a whole lot of stuff resulted from that. One, they invested millions of dollars in process improvements, machinery, stuff like that in Brazil. They hired a new CEO in the United States, my friend Brett, who's still the CEO and is my boss. So, of course, I'm going to say nice things about him. No, but in all seriousness...
Of course.
In all seriousness, actually a really good CEO. Moved the company from the shack that they were in Miami, in Hialeah in Miami, to a monster facility in Bainbridge, Georgia, which... there's trade-offs there, right? Like, we have all of the land in the world in Bainbridge, but we also have one Publix. So, which we just got the Publix, by the way. But we're Taurus has been a net improvement to this community because since Taurus moved to Bainbridge, Georgia, we've gotten a Chick-fil-A. We've gotten a Publix. Wow. We're getting a Marriott. Like,
ooh, a Marriott?
Let's go. Yes. Well, very fancy.
That's kind of like what happened with like Tennessee when Smith & Wesson moved, right? Because they basically just stand up a town around the production. They're like, okay, well, we need people to live here too, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and when Taurus moved to Bainbridge, they like automatically became it was something like the third largest employer in the city. They, just by moving there, and kind of a testament to the quality of the employees that we have is something like 80% of the employees who lived in Miami were like, yeah, sure, I will uproot my life and move to Bainbridge, Georgia from Hialeah and go, live in the middle of nowhere.
Who doesn't
Georgia.
Want to move from Hialeah?
Yeah, I was going to say, who wants to live in Hialeah?
Yeah, but it's so close to Miami.
Yeah, again, who wants...
I got.
I mean, Miami's
Okay,
cool.
hold on, but
I got an ex from Miami, so I'm jaded.
I got the best tattoo of, and this is so you guys can see this, but I got the best tattoo of my life in Hialeah. So for people who are watching, it's Han Solo's gun from
Dude,
Star Wars, but in the American
that's
traditional
cool.
tattoo style, and it says "Blaster for Hire."
I enjoy that.
Right
quite a
on.
bit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
Well,
I got
so
that shit,
I
and
guess
I got it
we-
in Hialeah. So
Oh, fucking perfect.
Nice.
So we kind of touched on it, but I mean, in terms of Taurus making a pretty hard pivot, Kevin and I, this is kind of a full circle for us. So one of our first episodes, I don't know if it's still up anymore, but we've changed providers and a bunch of other shit's
Oh,
happened. But
yeah. We don't talk about the dark days of losing episodes.
yeah, where Bryce fucked up and lost a bunch of our shit. One of our first episodes was repairing reputations, and we were talking about one of those companies being Taurus.
Well, it was right around the same time that they were doing all that changing in management. When the G3
it would have been
out.
close to that time. God, it would have been
the G3C, by the way, is an
Pre-COVID.
absolute superstar of a gun.
Yeah. Sorry, I got fucking sidetracked again. So basically we were talking about repairing reputations, and it was interesting because I think it was around the time like the executive series came out, and so it would have been more products that I was interested in, which is to say, I'm a bit of a nerd, but I like double action only revolvers and silly nonsense that I quite enjoy. I don't like single action. Actually, I have a 625. I bobbed the hammer on like immediately. It was a JM and it has like the rainbow grips. And I was like, oh yeah, I got a Dremel out. Kevin's like, are you gonna shoot? Oh nope, it's gone. Yeah. So
the cool thing about the end frame Smiths is that if you go to Apex Tactical Specialties, you can buy a whole kit with a bobbed hammer and a bunch of springs and very important bits. And if you have if you are a competent enough person that 30 years ago you could have changed the oil in a pickup truck, because you can't anymore, because you have to ask permission from the AI to unscrew the filter these days. But
I don't know. My Toyota yells at me.
If you could change the oil in a 1993 Mitsubishi Mighty Max, which is a very specific reference because I had one of those, then you could install this action kit in an end frame, and you can get, literally with like a boop, boop, bop, bop, boop, and maybe a little bit of sanding with very, very fine sandpaper or something like that, you can get a 4.5-pound trigger pull in a Smith & Wesson. And that's because of the hugely available aftermarket for Smith guns. And that has not traditionally been a thing that the Taurus revolvers have had available. So what we've had to do is essentially do it in house, and it started with the executive grade gun, which circles back to kind of the redemption arc of Taurus, which ties into my story with Taurus. I got 2020. Brett reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to come. So actually, strike that. 2019, right after Brett got hired, I was working for Athlon Outdoors, and I was doing the Athlon Outdoors, which is still Athlon Outdoors, but it's now owned by Bleecker Street Publications. And I was the digital editor for Tactical Life magazine, right? So all of the web articles, all of that stuff was either written by me or sourced to a freelancer by me, right? Or copied and pasted from an old magazine article by me. And I was very lucky in that job because they basically were like, do whatever you want as long as it gets traffic. So I did all kinds of stuff. But one of the things that I did was I interviewed Brett for our podcast, and he talked about a lot of the process improvements, a lot of the things that have happened with Taurus to make it, to kind of change Taurus from battled Taurus to new Taurus. And I was like, this is all very interesting. So follow on, a few months later, he asks me if I want to come up to Bainbridge, see the facility, and consult with him on a project. And I was like, absolutely, I do. So that meeting was myself, Steve Fisher, who many people know as Yeti, and then a few other industry people who are all people who carry revolvers, are serious shooters, but also we had people there who work in the distribution side, who kind of know what will sell and this, that, and the other thing. And the end result of that meeting, the feedback from that meeting, created the gun that was the 856 executive grade. Like that was the first executive grade gun. And basically, like to tell the story in its short form is Brett pulled the room, and of all of these people who carry revolvers, who shoot revolvers, who are very serious about them, he was like, if you could create your perfect concealed carry revolver, what would it look like? And we all pretty much said a 6-shot 38 with good sights that's double action only and has a 3-inch barrel so we can get the most out of that 38 special cartridge. And then they made it. Like literally they were just like, okay, here's the 856 executive grade. It's a 6-shot 38 with good sights and is double action only. And there were some concessions that were made on that gun to affordability and to the market. Like the grips are not something that I personally would carry, but they look very pretty on a gun called executive grade.
Nice, yeah.
And you know, the sight was at the time just a sight that we had in our inventory. And you know, they took some lessons from that gun and carried them into the next guns in the executive grade lineup. But that was it, and that was the first encounter that I really had with New Taurus, which was a brand that was interested in creating really good guns for the people and leveraging the vertical integrations that they have both in Brazil and the United States to make those guns at a pretty good price point.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically everything you just said is what I was calling and telling Kevin when the executive grade came out. I was like, this is weird. This is a gun I really want. It's bobbed. It does all the things. This is a gun I give a shit about.
It's exactly what
almost verbatim.
That's exactly. And I was kind of like the naysayer, like, oh, is it Taurus bad? And Bryce is like, well, they were, and then now they used to be. They used to be. So it's really cool seeing a company like come around full circle into the positive.
So, and the funny thing about that, and they used to be bit, right, is fast forward a few years later, I've been offered a job by Taurus. I'm working there full time, and I recognize the value that Revolver Summit had for us, right? Like the products that we created out of that meeting were fantastic. So Brett's like, hey, I want to do this again. And I'm like, cool, hang on. I call 1-800 Daryl Bulkey. And I'm like, hey, Daryl, hey, Brian, you guys need to come to Bainbridge and we're going to talk about revolvers. And he's like, and they both were like, all right, let's do it.
And for people that don't know, these are remarkably fucking switched on dudes. So if you don't know who these people are, you need to unfuck your shit.
Daryl and Brian are American Fighting Revolver, and they run Revolver Fest. Like if you want, like, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but if there is anyone in this world that I'm going to call for advice about revolvers, it's going to be Daryl or Brian. Like that, those are the people. I'm like, hang on one second, I have a question about this. Hey, Brian, or hey, Daryl. It doesn't matter. One of those guys is going to be the guys, right?
Right.
They're so switched on. And one of the products that came out of that meeting was the 66 Combat that we just launched last year.
Ooh.
So, you know, and because Daryl, Brian, and I all agreed we want a medium frame revolver with good sights that has an amazing trigger on it that's carryable, and we were like, okay, let's fucking make it. And we made the 66 Combat. I have a joke that gun has so much of my DNA in it, I should pay child support.
Well, when that came out, the first thing I said was, why? Like, this is what Smith & Wesson should have been making. Like, this is perfect. And this is exactly what I want.
And I don't want people to think that I'm throwing shade at Smith & Wesson, because I have thousands of rounds on Smith & Wesson guns. And I want people to take this comment in the spirit that it's meant, but I would put what Taurus is producing today up against anything that Smith & Wesson is making, like 1-to-1. And I would also say, and maybe this is me throwing poco shade, but I think that the executive grade guns are better on an individual gun-to-gun basis than performance center guns. That's a little bit of shade. I think that the value that you get from... Look, okay, this is a real story, and I'll go back to the Taurus Redemption arc here in a minute. So I was at the Pat Rogers revolver roundup at Gunsight, right? And we had a dude there who had bought one of the recently released Smith & Wesson 327 JM like signature edition guns, right? And those guns are expensive. They're like $3 bills, like $3,000.
Yeah, that's the Magna ported one, right?
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
the Magna ported 9mm with the titanium cylinder. It is a very, very, very cool gun. I am not throwing any shade at Smith for that. It's a very, very cool gun. Nothing that I'm going to say are my words here in this moment. So this guy was shooting this gun in my class. He was having a great time. And I was running my 692 executive grade, which is our 7-shot 9mm gun. And he was like, hey, I'm curious about this gun. When we're done with this block of instruction, can I shoot it? And I was like, oh, yeah, yes, you can. So we get done with our block of instruction.
Maniacal laughter.
I drop a moon clip in the gun. I hand it over to him, and he goes, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, he looks at my gun, he looks almost upset, and he goes, can I shoot it again? I'm like, of course. Give him another moon clip. He reps through 7 rounds. Big side. That has a better trigger in it than my Smith & Wesson. And I go, I know it does. And he's like, how much does this cost? And I'm like, MSRP is about $1,000. He's like, you're telling me I could have bought 3 of these for what I paid for this? I was like, I didn't say it. You did, bro. Like,
yes,
you did. And again, I don't want to throw shade at Smith because I think the 327 JM's a really cool gun, and I think what they're trying to do with it is very cool. But I just think that Taurus has elevated its game so much that we are absolutely level pegging with whatever Smith is putting out these days, and that's pretty fucking rad. Which takes me back to the redemption story. Going back to that meeting where it was DB and Brian, myself, and Brett, and a couple other people. Brett, out of the blue, tells the story. He's like, well, here's why I hired Caleb. And I'm like, hold on. I don't know this story. Why did you hire me, Brett? I'm like grabbing the arms of my chair. And so he goes on to tell, like, before that 2020 meeting, the reason he brought me in is because in 2013, I was doing a project about an idea that I've held for a long time, that the idea of an affordable 38 special revolver is like a medium frame 38 special revolver, like a K frame or an L frame, or now a Taurus medium frame, a Security 6, a GP 100, something like that, but that costs like $350 or $400 in today's money, that you can load, will hit to the sights, and be reliable, is the perfect gun for most people who are like, oh my God, I don't like the way the world is going, I should get a gun, right? Because my number one concern with it, like, I have had to accept the fact that those people are never going to get training. They're never going to go take a Scott Jedlinski class or a 10-8 class or an Ernest Langston class. They just want a gun because they're Americans and they don't like the shape of the world. And when we don't like the shape of the world as an American, we buy a fucking gun. That's American, right? That's very, very American.
The t-shirt.
And so my concern for those people is I want them to have a weapon system that, one, will work if they leave it in a sock drawer for 10 years and all of a sudden somebody kicks in their window, and two, that would be very, very difficult for them to negligently discharge if the thing that kicked in their window was a drunk person who thought that they were trying to get into their house because they forgot their keys, right? So, like, there's a huge balance here. And so that idea was what was behind this project. And I was like, so I went out and I bought a Taurus Model 82 in 2013. And it was bad. And I wrote a scathing article about it on my blog at the time that got something north of like 3.5 million views. Loads of people saw it. And I mean, I remember a sentence that I used was, I said, it looked like the internals were finished with a flint axe, which is something I use today to insult shitty finishes on guns. But the gun was really, really bad, and I was very, very upfront about it, and I didn't pull any fucking punches. A couple of years later, I had a video on YouTube where I talked about like the best defensive revolvers, and at the end of it, I was like, and now you're probably asking, what about Taurus? And I was like, well, friends don't let friends buy Taurus, or something like that. I don't remember. I said something mean about Taurus. But all of that was what influenced Brett to bring me into the room, because he knew that I had an opinion and it was not a good one. And I was the sort of person that wasn't going to pull any punches, right? Like when I got because I didn't work for Taurus when I got my 856 executive grade. And he knew that if I got that gun and it was a piece of shit, that I was going to tell people that, oh, Taurus is trying to change their reputation, but I guess they fucking can't because this gun sucks. And it didn't suck. It most objectively did not suck. It was a really good gun. And so then, after I got hired by Taurus, I got an 82, which I bought with my own money. And I because it was the same model that I had bought, 10 years ago that had been a piece of crap. So I went out and I bought another one. And as of, and I put 10,000 rounds on it. And it went.
Is that the one you had like the goon tape and stuff on?
Oh yeah. I wrapped
like drop gun or something.
Yeah, it looked like it came out of an evidence locker.
Yeah, that's what it was. I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, it's got goon tape on it. I wore the Parkerization off the muzzle from the number of reps in and out of the holster. Painted the front sight orange with gross, hooker nail polish.
Perfect.
And it just
the way.
And it just keeps going.
Perfect.
Like I could go grab that gun out of my friggin' gun locker right now, put 6 rounds of 158 grain lead round nose in it, and at 25 yards go, shoot the 10 ring out of a B8 with it. The gun's phenomenal. And that was and for me, like I had taken the job at Taurus on the belief that Brett was telling me the truth, that the people that I knew there were telling me the truth. But what validated it for me was the fact that I went out, because when I got that gun, I didn't get one from the factory, right? Like I went and I ordered it from Bud's gun shop because I wanted one that was in production. And just like a random,
that's interesting.
Production sample.
One that wasn't like quote unquote specially made for you. You just wanted one that was out in the wild.
And now I will tell you guys this for your listeners. So as a company, we don't do special like out in the wild. Like if you as a gun writer say like email me and you're like, hey Caleb, I want Taurus GX2. What I do is I go, okay, well I don't do this anymore. I send it to my guy, but I send this to our marketing specialist, and he just puts an order in our computer system. And then our warehouse people, they go and they say order GX2, and they just go grab a gun off the shelf and they put it in a box, and that's the one you get. So there are no, from us anyways, there are no special gun writer samples, right? Like the guns
I love that.
The guns that you get are the same fucking ones that Davidson's gets that they send to Bud's gun shop. I don't do special gun writer customs. The only time the only caveat to that is the only time I've done that is where it was, so there was, what gun was it? It was so when we did the Judge Home Defender, which is like the Judge Shockwave edition, it's a 13-inch Judge. Those weren't gun writer specials in that they had special attention, but we shot all of those before they went out because we wanted to make sure they patterned. That was like one of those where hang on, let's just double check to make sure, like, let's make sure our crazy idea actually works before we send it to people.
Verify.
How un-Keltec of you. Verifying your ideas work.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on.
Those who drink their own piss.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what a great ad. So that ad got, people made so much fun of that ad, but it was actually a really good ad because everyone was talking about it. Like everyone was like,
that's the point, right?
Piss mustache ad. Like to this day, you could, to a certain generation of gun owners, you could be like, hey, who is it that made the piss mustache ad? And everyone's like, Keltec.
I think my favorite Keltec thing was, I think someone asked him, one of the guys we know asked him if the current world affairs have interrupted their supply of cocaine. And without skipping a beat, they just said, no, we have a supply. Thank you for asking.
We brought our own guy.
We got our own dude. I think like piss mustache ranks up there with gun legs, and then the great hamburger beef as like iconic gun ads. So for people who are a little bit older than you guys, the two greatest gun ads of all time were like, this was before the internet existed, so you couldn't have internet beefs. But Ruger put out an ad that basically compared the GP100 frame to the L frame and was like, thicker is better. The GP100's thicker, it's stronger, it's tougher, right? So then Smith and Wesson goes.
It's also cast.
Listen, this is marketing.
Sorry.
Calm your tits.
I'm sorry.
So, but then Smith and Wesson, in the greatest clapback of all time in the gun industry, goes and makes a hamburger in the shape of a GP100. Like, it is a full-on, like, beef GP100 patty. It's enormous. And they put lettuce, tomato, onion, put a bun on it and everything. And the caption of the ad is, thicker is only better in burgers and milkshakes. It is such an amazing clapback from Smith and Wesson.
That's great.
And this was
That's
like
very good.
1990 something, 1987 or something like that. And like,
That's
to
pretty
this
stellar.
day, every now and then I will go to Brett and I'll be like, can I do something like that? Can I like make a clapback at like Sig Sauer? And he's like, no, you cannot. I'm like, okay, I'll be a good boy. And then I go and be a good boy.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh, it's the greatest gun ad of all time.
I was gonna say I like a little spice in a firearms ad. That's pretty fun.
The one I almost got approved was I wanted to do an ad where it was like a dude standing over an open grave, and this was going to be a Taurus ad, and he was going to be standing over this open grave, and he was going to throw a Taurus curve into it, and a Taurus Spectrum, and like some of like the old guns from like battled Taurus, and then it was just going to smash cut to RIP old Taurus, and then it was going to be like a cool guy montage of like the G3 Tactical and the 856 executive grade, and dudes just ripping rounds out of them, and then like hail to the new Taurus.
I actually quite like that.
I did too, but I didn't have the budget for it.
I went ahead and I found the image and dropped it in our Discord for the viewing of our people.
Oh, the GP100 ad?
The burger one.
Oh,
yeah,
so
GP100.
good. So good.
Dude, it's hilarious. They really did.
Yeah.
The burger and the milkshake.
And that's a real, like, that's real ground beef. That's not like mocked up or anything like that. They actually got like 3 pounds of ground beef to make that shit.
Oh, dude, that's fucking awesome, man. Back when ad
just
companies were,
this is incredible.
Yeah,
that's funny. Well, so real quick, so in the vein of the Taurus redemption, obviously, you had been a pretty you had a very public opinion about the Taurus judge.
I did,
and then. Now there's an executive Taurus judge. How, sir, do you explain yourself? What has changed?
So my very strong opinion about the Taurus judge coincided with the gun ownership era that a lot of us... Okay, so if you're very serious about performance shooting, self-defense, and all of that, we all go through an era where you have the deep-seated opinion that if you are not carrying a Glock 19, so in the era where this was the cool, where I had this opinion, the cool gun was a Roland Special, all right, which was a Glock 19 with a magwell, a comp, an optic, and an X300, right? That was the chef's kiss gun.
Chef's kiss, yeah.
Yeah.
And so in that era, and now it's a 2011 or whatever, right? Or a Walther PDP, whatever. Regardless, the opinion is we all go through this moment where we're like, if you're not carrying the gun of the moment and 2 spare magazines, then you are fundamentally unserious about self-defense and personal protection, right? And any gun that exists outside of that specific sort of use case is silly. And to me at the time, the judge was especially silly because I couldn't see, like a serious real world use for the judge, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Fast forward, I'm working for Taurus. I still haven't really had my mind changed on the judge, but I've got a pre-production sample of the judge's executive grade, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, this isn't that big. And so I take out my 4-inch GP100 that's in my gun locker, and I hold them up side by side, and they're the same overall length. The GP100 has an extra inch of barrel, the Judge has an extra inch of cylinder. And I go, this isn't actually that big. So then I take it and I put it in my HPG chest bag, and it fits in my HPG chest bag. And I go, this fits in my HPG chest bag. So then I take it to the range, and I take 230 grain jacketed hollow points, and I shoot a group at 15 yards. And standing on my hind legs, double accidentally, I shoot a group that I can cover with my fist at 15 yards with 230 grain jacketed hollow points. And I go, that's actually pretty good. So then I take it and I go, okay, what are everyone's like, oh, well, what about varmints and snakes and this, that, and the other thing? And I go, okay, wait a minute, let's think about this. I know at 7 yards, the Judge will throw a donut-shaped shot pattern because of the rifling in the barrel. But what about at the distances that you're likely to get surprised by a snake? So I shoot it at targets 10 feet in front of me and shoots a pattern like this. And I go, okay, wait a minute. This might make sense. This might make sense for use cases that I hadn't considered. And so in a practical mindset, I went through all of these use cases that had been outside of how I considered it. But then what really kind of nailed it for me was I would go to the range to train, like to train for IDP matches, to train to get better at shooting and all of that sort of stuff. And the Judge kept sneaking into my range bag. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in here? I didn't put you in there. Why is there a box of 45 Colt Cowboy loads in here? What? Where did that come from? Ping! Oh man, that's really fun. Let me just shoot this steel a little bit more with these 45 Colt Cowboy loads. Ping! Man, this is fun. All right, that's fine. All right, put the gun away. Go back to the range next week to train. I got my IDPA gun. I got 300 rounds, 38 special. My Judge is in the bag again. There's a box of 45 Colt Cowboy loads in here. Where the fuck did this come from?
Every time.
Wow.
And what nailed it for me was that not every gun has to be serious. It doesn't have to be a serious gun for face shooting people, for jumping out of a helicopter with a knife in your teeth, for protecting your life from cartelios at 2 a.m. It can just be for fucking fun. And so many people have bought the Judge for fun because they saw those ads where we were blowing up watermelons with them. They love the idea of a revolver that shoots shotgun shells, and that's great. And then if you buy it for fun, and I have a friend who owns one, and he lives down in Louisiana, right? And he has a Judge, and he's got a holster basically stapled to his riding mower, and he's got a Judge in it. Perfect. Because he's got water moccasins and all kinds of nasty things in his backyard. So he'd be on his riding mower and he'd be like, oh, pow! A friend of mine is a game warden in South Carolina, in the South region, where we have dangerous snakes, and his job is to take care of like normal animals, but he carries a Judge because at 0 to 10 feet, it is an absolute death ray on dangerous snakes. So I'm like, it was one of those things where my objections to the Judge were not based on the gun itself, but they were based on my own prejudices and my own training mindset at the time. Like, is it a good shotgun for shooting clays? No. Is it the best 45 Colt revolver that was ever made? No. But is it really but if you understand its niches and its use cases, it's the best thing at what it does. And also it's really fucking fun. Like it's I did a fun stage at an event where you started with a Judge and you had to shoot and I made it easy because I didn't want people to have a hard time. But you had to shoot 2 steel plates, and then you had to shoot a big pepper popper. And when that pepper popper dropped, it flipped up a clay. So the gun had 3 rounds of 45 Colt and then 2 rounds of 410 in it, so you could get 2 shots at the clay. People had so much fun doing that. That's like, cool. Ping, 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 boom, boom. People had a blast. And you know what? I had a blast. Because I was trying to get it as fast as I possibly could. It was a hoot.
Well, what you've told me is that you matured and you broaden your horizons to things. Because when Kevin was getting into shooting, I was like, nope, you got to get a Glock 19. Needs to be 9mm. Because I grew up getting yelled at by James Yeager. So.
And I got it.
A lot of us got yelled.
Bryce is like, I don't like Glock 19.
I actually got personally yelled at by James Yeager. So,
wow, you beat me. All right.
R.I.P.
But so yeah, absolutely. But I mean, there's that very meme worthy graph where it was like when you start out, it's a Glock, everything needs to be a Glock 19, and then when you get up to like the top side, it's like Roland Special, and when you get back to the bottom side, or it's a J frame and then the Glock 19, and then back to a J frame, which is ironic because I carry a 22 Magnum J frame because I'm a real man. But incredible. I mean, I had a very similar realization that it's like you're allowed to have fun guns. You're allowed to have guns that are for a specific purpose. But now really now saying what we have about the judge, where does the executive grade fit in? Because I mean, what's the idea with that?
Judge but fancy. Question.
Fair. Okay. Fair.
Okay.
I mean, like if you like the judge, you'll like the executive grade judge even more.
Fair point.
And
for the gentleman,
I think I will say the executive grade judge, if you want a barbecue gun, that's actually a really so if you're not familiar with the concept of barbecue gun, it's a very Texas Southern thing where like you go to essentially like a house party, but like a nice house party, and everyone is, everyone's sort of doing Walker Texas Ranger cosplay. They have guns and leather holsters and white button downs and cowboy hats, right? Bolero ties. And so you have to have a cool gun for this. But it doesn't just need to be cool, it needs to be conversational. So if you show up with a fancy judge with like presentation grade wood grips and that sort of thing, you can have a conversation. Now you're gonna lose to the guy with the 10.8 Performance 1911 or the guy with the, vintage 1870 something Colt SAA, but you're gonna have people are gonna talk about your fucking judge. But so the whole thing with the executive grade, right? The executive grade line is taking our products that are proven sellers that are very popular with the public, the 856, the Judge, the 605, the 692, and elevating them, right? Like they're all one gun, one gunsmith. So one gunsmith gets the parts and he hand finishes them,
I didn't know that.
Hand fits them. So yeah, like every Judge executive grade that you get was built by one dude, right? Not the same one dude, like 5 one dudes, but all 5 of them working.
Wow,
yeah,
that's interesting.
So, and the thing that I love the most about the Judge is the Judge executive grade when it came out. Again, a Daryl Bulkey reference. I texted Daryl, I was like, "Hey, come over to our booth," and he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I have a trigger pull that's going to irritate you when you pull it." And so he comes over, and I'm like, "Here, pull this trigger." He's like, "Caleb, it's a Judge." I'm like, "Pull the trigger, Daryl. Pull the fucking trigger." And he rolls through the double action trigger, and he's like, "I'm really mad right now because that's the best DA trigger on the show floor." And I go, "I know. That's why I called you over here to come press that trigger." And he's like, "Why couldn't you just make it as a regular 45? I'm like, "Because it wouldn't sell as well if it was a Judge." And he's like, "I'm really mad at you right now." I'm like, "I know. Have a great day, Daryl. Love you a long time." But it is. I
had a similar.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I had a similar unsettling epiphany when I played with the 327 Toro. I was like, "This is upsetting. Why is this? Why is the trigger like this?"
For people who are,
I got some B film of you just.
That's my carry gun. That's like I routinely EDC that 327 Toro.
That thing fucks. I want one so badly.
Do we have any of them available right now? Hang on one second. I can find this out so fast.
Oh, he's looking live, Bryce.
I'm checking live retailer inventory because hey, look, I'm in marketing. My job is to enable sell through, right? Like I want people to buy these guns.
My wife is really supportive, so she would just be like, "Yeah, you should do that."
So guys, if you go to
you should do it, Bryce.
So here's a fun fact: if you go to TaurusUSA.com to our website, find the gun that you want. Then on the right side of the page next to that gun, there's going to be buy now links, which will take you to all sorts of online retailers like Gunbroker and guns.com. And if you go to if you click that little Gunbroker link next to the 327 Toro Defender, you'll see that Gunbroker has them new in box, buy now, for as low as the cheapest one I found was $427. So $50 for this gun. And it's a 6-shot 327 Fed mag, shoots 32 mags. It's drilled and tapped for optics. Comes with the optics plate in the box. Takes RMSC footprint optics, so you can put, a Shield RMSC. You could put a Sealy on there. You could support the Chinese Communist government. Put a Holosun on there. I didn't say that.
Long live Holosun.
Man, I super look forward to fighting guys with Holosun optics on their guns in the next 20 years.
Hey man, they are clone correct. I've seen the Ukrainian war footage.
Hey,
Okay,
maybe it'll just end up like
Vortex. Apparently,
look,
it'll end up like the Falklands.
I will say,
like our guys will pick up their optics.
I will say this: people are very in our community are sometimes like, oh well, I only want a weapon/optic that's battle tested, right? That's got bodies on it. Holosuns have got a fuckload of bodies on them.
It's got a lot of bodies. On both sides.
Fair. I will say this: credit where credit's due. Their marketing department insanely good, 10 out of 10. Their marketing department's so fucking good at their jobs. Secondly, honestly, they make really fucking cool optics. Their shit's really good.
I was a little disappointed with the new ones from this year. A lot of distortion in the glass, which bummed me out pretty hard.
I didn't look at them.
They are interesting.
I feel like the quality for Holosun is a little sketchy because they have 2 403Bs.
Both of which are drastically different quality.
Yeah, the first one I have is bomb proof, and then the second one's a little wonky. But I will say their customer service is amazing because I sent the first one back when I stripped the screws out of it. I put it in a box with an Xbox controller clamshell on top. I threw some paper in there. I duct taped it shut. I wrote a love you letter on the box and mailed it off to California. And they sent it back to me in a pristine box with all the fixins. Hey, here you go.
Credit where credit's due.
I was
sure.
fully expecting for it to come back in like a fucking beat up shit fucking box like I said.
Well, and what's funny about optics, I have an article coming out about this on my Substack, radicaleb.substack.com, in a couple of days, talking about how so I have this whole theory that we are in a golden age of semi-automatic striker-fired 9mm pistols, right? And Taurus has actually entered this golden age. So you could take, and to explain this to people who are serious gun people understand this, and it's kind of a hard thing for people who aren't very, very serious shooters to understand, but if you took basically any of the crop of modern semi-automatic striker-fired 9mm pistols, right? Take a Glock 19, take an HK-VP9, take an M&P, take a Walther PDP, and now this year take the new Taurus TX9, throw them in a bag. Shake that bag up. Now you hand me this bag and you say, Caleb, stick your hand in the bag, and whatever gun you take out, you have to carry every day for the rest of the year. I don't actually care which one I come out with because they're all the same in that they are incredibly reliable, they're accurate, they're durable, they're all optics ready. And, if I said that to someone who doesn't understand what I'm talking about, they'd be like, well, what do you mean? It's like Taurus isn't any better than those? And I'm like, well, you can't be better than those because that's the standard, right?
Right.
And if we are because all jokes about Glock perfection aside, the Glock 19 is a really fucking great handgun. And if you make a handgun that does what the Glock 19 does, that's the standard. That's what consumers expect, is we want a gun that is as good as a Glock 19. And if you can't reach that standard, we don't want to fucking talk about it. So for Taurus to be in that conversation now is leaps and bounds from where Taurus was 15 years ago. And
absolutely.
So that's the golden age of 9mm pistols. But I also think that we are in a golden age of compact pistol mounted optics. Because when I talk about compact pistol mounted optics, right? So I have, and I did a podcast about this, and I talk about this a lot in my article that's coming out as well. But in my head, there are 2 tiers, just 2, of compact pistol mounted red dot optics. You have your genuine military grade duty rated optics, and that's Trijicon and Aimpoint. And we're just talking about red dots. So I'm not talking about holographic sights, because if we were, we'd also include EOTech in that. But just in the terms of red dots, your compact pistol mounted optics, you have Trijicon and Aimpoint, those are your duty grades. And then you have everything else. And everything else is all really fucking good. I ran over a Swamp Fox optic with a pickup truck and it held 0. And that thing cost $140. If you had told me that was trying desperately to get an RMR to hold 0 in 2014, that I would be able to spend $140 on an optic that would hold 0 after I ran it over with a fucking car, I would have said you were insane. But that's where we're at.
It's interesting how far we've come in what has happened to the market. Because, I mean, obviously we have a lot of competition, but that competition has just made everything basically fine, which is great. So you really...
Well,
I mean, Ben Steger had a video regardless of how you feel about his politics, he shoots a lot of bullets.
He does.
And he was like, honestly, like, in terms of the selection of handguns, we're to the point now, if it feels good in your hand, buy that one. Because back when I was coming up into shooting, that wasn't really the thing. It was buy a Glock 19 or take a fucking chance on some weird nonsense gun or an M&P that maybe groups, maybe doesn't. But I mean, now this is 1.0s before the M&P people. I have one right in front of me. I'm playing with one.
Oh, don't you?
That I never use.
That you never carry.
That I never use.
Then I bamboozled you in the bind.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking dick. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's pick your poison. They all basically do. Pick your cola. And if you're an RC boy, you're okay in my book. But
disgusted.
RC cola.
Thank you.
Nobody
tell him.
Caleb.
Caleb, tell him. Tell him it's not.
Spirit Airlines.
He would if they. Not. He would if they let him.
So people don't like RC cola.
No,
it's royal. It's delicious.
You absolute fucking psycho.
Look, I don't. I will say I'm not a big soda drinker, but when I fly,
neither am I.
I'll tell you what. When I fly and it's like I'm sitting in the airport lounge and it's like 7 a.m. I had to get up at the ass crack of dawn. I don't want a cup of coffee, but I want like something refreshing. A fucking ice cold Dr. Pepper poured over
you and my wife
ice. Oh my god!
I'll give you
that shit. Cracks. That shit slaps you in the face. This is a
Pib family, okay? This is a Pib podcast, goddammit. I'll hear none of this slander.
Mr. Pib. You don't fly Spirit Airlines. You fly Allegiant.
Well, here, all right, so here's the funny thing here. So I'll link it together for us. Mr. Pibb recently did a redemption arc, and now Taurus has done a redemption. They did.
Well, apparently they're Mr. Pibb again. It's not Pib Extra, I don't think.
Yeah, they're coming back out when they're OG
the
stuff.
original.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. I am really not up to speed on the soda wars. So, but I believe you that Pib did a redemption arc.
But more so, I was gonna say, I feel like competition drives standards. Right, the more competition you have in a market, optics, guns, the more there becomes a standard that people have to achieve. Otherwise, they get left behind. And I feel like you're right saying that we're in the golden age of optics and striker-fired pistols.
Look at televisions. The same thing that's happened to the cost and quality of a television has happened to red dot optics. And it's because, and like, you know, as much as we don't like the word globalization, but it's because of the globalization of supply chains and the diversification of labor, right? Like, I can go buy a TV today for like $500 that shits all over a $5,000 TV from 10 years ago. Like, it does things that a 10-year-old TV couldn't even imagine doing, and it costs a tenth. And that's the same thing that we've had with optics, where we have higher quality components for fewer amounts of dollars made at a lower cost. And it's like, we can argue till we're blue in the face about whether or not the globalization of supply chains is good for the American economy, but you know, again, and that's not a conversation I'm equipped to have, right? I'm not an economist. I'm not that guy, but what I can tell you is it is good for the American shooting consumer, because again, the quality of a friggin' Sealy Wolf Pro that costs $150 is a better optic than a Trijicon RMR was in 2014. And that's an objective statement of fact. That's not, there's no question about that. No one would argue that.
100%. Well, I mean, so with that being said, the TX9 you guys released recently. That's basically just your entry into Bag of Gun then.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just that is like that was the design of the gun. Was there anything you were trying to accomplish other than having a service grade handgun?
No, the gun was designed specifically to compete for international military law enforcement contracts. It's already been adopted by a couple of LE agencies in Brazil. And you want to talk about a country where the LE agencies shoot people on the regular basis.
Do some shooting, yeah.
Like if your measure of whether or not a gun is duty graded is does it have bodies on it? Well, what do the Brazilians carry? Because they'd be putting up, they're putting bodies on guns on a regular basis. But it's already been adopted by a couple agencies down in Brazil. It's going to get submitted for some international military contracts. But yeah, that was the idea was, hey, let's make a gun that can compete heads up with with these other military grade handguns. And that was it. That was Bag of Gun. And it does Bag of Gun stuff. We took one and I gave it to one of our brand ambassadors and I was like, hey, we're going to shoot 1,000 rounds to this in 10 minutes. Are you up to this? And he's like, yeah, do you want help? And I'm like, I'll load mags.
I saw that video and I was cringing.
The guy was shaking at the end of it.
At the 400 mark, I was like, oh my God, I feel how tired he is. But he fucking got through it.
Trucking through it.
I did 500 once through a Colt Python, and it took me like 30 minutes to do it because I ended up having to like single load rounds because the gun was getting so hot I couldn't open it and do like a standard I couldn't hold the cylinder because it was so fucking hot. And 500 rounds to a Python like broke me pretty bad. And it took 3 times the amount of time it took for Matt to shoot 1,000 rounds through that TX9.
Dude, when he ducked it in the barrel of water, I was just imagining all the oil and grease just oozing down his hand.
Evacuating.
I will say when he pulled it, like when I was there, because I was standing there watching it, when he pulled it out of the water, stuck that mag in it, and fired a round, I closed my eyes because I was like, this gun's going to blow up, right? Like, I just was like, in my head, I was like, there's going to be some sort of water in the barrel. It's going to cause a back pressure. The gun's going to detonate. And it just goes bang, 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 bang. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing's really rad.
I mean, I knew that would happen.
Yeah, I mean.
I was wondering why your facial expressions were changing.
There were a couple of moments where I was concerned because, like, not to like no, this isn't what this gun is designed for, right? Like when companies like Beretta and Taurus, we're one of them, and SIG and all those say that like we shot 30,000 rounds through a gun in proof testing. That's true, but we didn't do it in one continuous string of fire.
Literally one setting.
Right. That's not what the gun's unless the gun's a belt fed. It's not designed to shoot 1,000 rounds without stopping. And even belt feds aren't designed to shoot 1,000 rounds without stopping.
Yeah.
So
they have removable barrels
for a reason. I know because I've read the T&E for the 249 and the 240. You're definitely not supposed to shoot 1,000 rounds without stopping. Like you need to change that fucking barrel.
Right.
But like, and so there were moments during that test where I was like, oh, this is where it's going to fail, right? This is where the thing is going to happen. And the thing just never happened. And it just kept going. And I was like, like I had been pretty confident up to that point because I'd shot the guns a bit and I've shot a little bit in my life. And I was like, this gun feels like a winner. But that was when I was like, oh, this gun's in the game. This is in the conversation.
Well, you guys kept the right DNA in that gun because the TX-22, I think, is arguably the most comfortable gun you guys have ever made.
It's the best 22 on the market. Fight me, Roger.
It absolutely has to be. I think, I mean, just so when I first played with one, I was like, why don't the Tauros or like any of the GX3s or like any of the other Tauruses have this grip? And I'm like, oh, hey, look, TX9, sick.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, there it is.
Well, and
I like that.
The TX22 was designed in the States. That was an entirely, and this isn't to throw shade at Brazil or anything like that, but that was a gun that was designed. No one knows the American gun market better than Americans, right? So that gun was designed in the States by Americans for Americans.
You don't have to fight the point system either, right?
We don't because it was made in America. And, massive credit to the Brazilians. When we started designing the TX9, they were like, we want to use the TX-22 as a base for it because they saw how successful and how popular that gun was. And of all of the international, like all of the nations that I've worked with, where they're like, because there's a lot of companies that import guns to the States where they have to work with international partners, right? The Brazilians are the most willing to listen to the Americans. Of all of the companies that I've worked with, they will be like, maybe you guys do know what you're talking about. It's like, yes, we do.
Most of the world's guns are here. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're pretty adamant.
We own
other countries are like,
we own like 2/3 of the guns in the whole world. So yeah, we might know.
Private hands. Hell yeah.
Every blade of grass has a gun behind it.
Yeah. And then some.
Bless.
And a reload.
Well, so in terms of the TX9, so for people that do not know, you occasionally shoot some competitions, and you've been known to shoot some paper occasionally.
Once or twice.
But so you shot recently, or the last Bianchi, you shot a G3.
Mm-hmm.
So walk us through what was the selection? Were you going into Bianchi Cup and going, hey, I'm going to take a Taurus, or was it just you wanted to try out a factory gun? And so that was a Lipsy's distributor exclusive?
So I got a Lipsy's distributor exclusive and shot it at Bianchi Cup and didn't shoot my best score, also didn't shoot my worst score. The biggest limb fact that I had with that gun was the sights. So it had a stock rear sight on it, which our stock rear sight is the same width and diameter as a Glock sight. It's just made out of metal because sights shouldn't be made out of plastic. And then I changed out the front sight for an Ameriglow fiber optic. And the biggest limb fact of it was point of aim, point of impact that with that setup was behind the center of the fiber optic dot, right? Which meant at Bianchi Cup, to get the bullet where I wanted it to go, I was covering up my aiming reference, which is, on a sport like Bianchi Cup, is less than optimal, right? So...
Right.
And the big problem was I didn't have the time to get like Ameriglow, or not Ameriglow. I didn't have the time to get Dawson Precision adjustable fiber optics and get them on the gun, which would have been better because then you can zero it so like it cuts the target in half or 6 o'clock or whatever you want. So what I did do,
because they are just Glock.
Yeah.
Glock pattern.
Yep.
Okay.
Generic Glock dovetail. Yeah. So if you have a Taurus G3 or you get one of the TX-22s when the American made ones start coming out, you can just, if you're like, I don't like these sights, I want to put new sights on it. Cool. Any Glock pattern sight will fit it. All of them.
Awesome.
So, which is great because especially for guys who like want to co-witness with optics and stuff like that, you can get Glock optic height sights and you'll be good to go. So when I did that, I got I took one of the new TX9s out and I put an acro on it because I wanted to, actually, I took this same TX9 that we shot 1,000 rounds through, that exact same gun. Because people were like, oh, well, how did it hold up after all of that? And I'm like, let's go find out. So we did break the front sight. So the gun got so hot, it melted the fiber optic out of the front sight, and it fused the Loctite to the sight itself that I used to screw that front sight post in. So the process of getting the front sight out, I maybe destroyed the front sight insert post a little bit. Because I ended up...
Perfect. Oh, just a smidget.
I maybe ended up using a wrench to rip it off the gun because I couldn't get it out.
So this is Taurus-backed information. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, so I used a wrench to rip it out of the gun. And then when I went to screw in a new front sight, I had elongated the hole a little bit that it goes through, so I couldn't get the sight to tighten down.
Awesome.
And I'm like, whatever.
Caleb spec.
Yeah. Listen, if Jeremy Clarkson thinks that hammers are auto mechanics tool, I think that wrenches are a gunsmithing tool, okay? So...
There you go.
God bless.
So anyway, so I'm like, well, that's fine. It doesn't need sights. I'll just put an optic on it because we're in the golden age of pistol optics. So I get an acro on it, and I take it out to the range, and I shoot it off bags, and I end up shooting the two groups that I recorded. One of them was like a 1.89 inch group, and the other one was like a 2.4 inch group at 25 yards, rested off bags, but not a really good rest, like a kind of okay-ish rest with Hornady critical defense ammo. And I was like, oh, this thing's awesome. So then I shot another 500 rounds through it with just the optic, and since it's an acro, I'm not really worried about the optic. And I was like, oh, this one's great. So I loaded it up with Federal HSTs, put an X300 on it, and it's in my gun safe by my nightstand now. So if somebody kicks my front door down, they're going to get shot with a Taurus that's got a gajillion rounds on it, no iron sights, and an acro.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Gang shit.
Well, so are you
quite the fire extinguisher gun there?
No, not at all. That's weirdo gun nerd shit. That's the cop is going to be like, what the fuck when he looks at it.
That's funny. Well, just so two last things that I want to bring. I want to ask well, actually, one's more of a statement, but are you planning on doing the TX9 for the next Bianchi Cup?
So no, I'm not. I'm going, but what we are going to do is we're going to bring someone to Bianchi Cup. Like I'm going to do basically like a come shoot the Bianchi Cup for the first time, sponsored by Taurus. So we're going to do kind of like a giveaway thing where we're going to give someone a TX9. Really cool. We're going to fly them out to the Cup and like sponsor them through the match and all of that stuff. I am going.
Well, I would love that. Thank you.
It's gonna. You're very welcome. Yes, of course. I haven't figured out exactly the
interesting.
I haven't figured out exactly the mechanism for that giveaway yet, because like there's a lot of laws about like giving shit away like that. Like there's so many stupid laws, and it's just the government is no fun. The government hates fun.
True.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
So we're gonna do that, but no, I'm gonna shoot a 608 competition, which is a 6-inch 8-shot revolver that I also helped design, and that's what I'm going to shoot at Bianchi Cup this year because I'm a degenerate and I really like revolvers.
I will say that thing. So that was my next statement was why is it going to be a revolver? But apparently it is. So you kind of killed the joke there.
And the best one when the adjustable trigger on the fly.
I know, I like that.
That adjustable trigger on the fly. So I didn't even know about that until I got the first one, and I took the grips off and I texted our engineering manager. I'm like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh, it's an adjustable trigger. Screw the drum in this direction to make it heavier, or screw it in this direction to make it lighter." And I go, "Cool."
That's kind of sick.
In the gun, you can go from give or take 7.5 pounds to I will break every Eastern European 357 Magnum primer on Earth, right? Like you can go from a very nice DA trigger to a fucking forearm weightlifting tool if you want to.
Okay, so since you have that, can I request like a 3-inch version of that ported, like with the Toro?
3-inch.
So
that shit would fuck.
66 combat.
Yeah, but I thought that was 7-shot.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's okay. So you want an 8-shot, yeah.
Yeah, that 8-round. Yeah. Because I'm feeling
a 3-inch 8-round 608 would be pretty bad.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool.
That would be
or
pretty
at least
cool.
I think ported would be neat. Although I think that would get old kind of quickly, but it'd still be cool.
The big problem with short, and this is like a retail problem. The big problem with like short barreled end frame size guns like the 8-shots and that sort of thing is that they're a really small niche market, right? Like the sort of people that want them there's not a lot of them, and because even like the 66 Combat is a bit of a niche gun because we get feedback like, oh, well, I want this gun but with a hammer, and I'm like, well, we have that. It's called the 66.
Literally have one of those.
Like I have that gun, right? But I want it with the 3-inch barrel and the optics ready and the round butt grip, but with a hammer. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense because that gun, like this gun is built to be a medium framed gun that carries like a small frame gun. Like that's the whole point of that gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's you. Well, those same people probably listen to the podcast. They're like, oh, I'd buy it. Yeah, but all of you are very much a niche group of nerds that we love so very much.
Who's listening?
I think there's this one guy who is forever in my comments being like, when are you going to make an 8-shot 32 Magnum? And I was like, as soon as Lipsy's orders 5,000 of them, that's when I'll make an 8-shot 30. See, gun nerds.
Lipsies has become way more cool recently too. So
No, for the record, Lipsies has
I'm
always been
holding.
cool. Jason Klossner was one of the guys who was at the original 856 summit, and he was like, he worked.
Yeah.
So Jason Klossner is Lipsies guy who decides what Lipsies is going to buy, and
Well, he's the Night Guard guy, right?
he's one of the smartest people in the gun industry. Like, and Jason, if you listen to this, you're the best. If you don't listen to this, you're also still the best. But he very much has a finger on the pulse of what sells, and so he's willing to take swings that some people may not be willing to take because he also understands the niche markets really well, right? Like the 432, ultimate carry gun that was a collab with, Daryl and Brian. The 856 wasn't Ellipses exclusive, but he was like, we can sell the hell out of the 856 executive grade, so Lipsies is willing. I mean, the masterclass that the Hilton masterclass is Ellipses exclusive.
Yep.
They're willing to take swings on guns that other people aren't because they have dialed in a market of fucking gun nerds. Like they're like, hey, do you like trains and also guns? Boy, do we have some products for you.
You have me at trains.
The problem is this is actually not a problem. It's just hilarious. Is that Lipsies makes guns that it's like you basically just want the Lipsies version of the manufacturer's guns. It's like, oh, I just want this one. It's like it's Lipsies exclusive. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, they make guns.
Okay.
They make guns for the turbo gun autist. They're like,
yeah, they
do. You have a really nice collection of spoons in your house? Like, are your spoons like sorted individually by use case?
They are.
Do we have a J-frame for you?
Oh wow!
Do you spot planes in the sky? This is for you, buddy.
I can imagine the ad right now where it's like spoons are in a row perfectly. It says, "Does this tickle your fancy?" Lipsies guns.
Boy, do we have a gun for you. Do you have FlightAware running 24/7 on your computer with alerts set up for specific tail numbers? Boy, do we have a gun for you.
We have a gun for you.
Dude, next time we have Luke on, we're gonna have to make that joke. That's actually fucking funny.
Oh man.
Holy
I mean,
God.
I also
or just have like a puzzle, and Lipsies is the last puzzle piece that goes into the puzzle.
Did you guys? And I'm not throwing shade. I swear to you guys, I'm not throwing shade at Chiappa right now. But did you see the autism awareness rhino at SHOT Show?
Yeah.
So and
the Italians don't seem to understand.
Some Italians do. No, but I think Chiappa actually does understand. I think Chiappa's fucking with. I think they're trolling us. I think yes. I think they know exactly because all right. So for people who don't know, Chiappa, the famous Chiappa Rhino, which is I would say up there with the Judge in terms of iconic revolvers, right? Like in pop culture. They did a 44 mag this year at SHOT Show, and it's enormous. I mean, it is a battleship of a gun. But they did a special edition, and it was like, this is, the gun as art was the whole thing, right? And if you look at it, so if you go Google Chiappa Rhino 44 mag special edition,
I gotta mute myself.
And then you go Google the autism awareness logo, it's
so bad.
They're really close.
It's the same thing.
They're really close, guys.
Oh my God.
Like, they're so similar. Because the autism awareness logo is like a patchwork of puzzle pieces, and the Chiappa Rhino is like a patchwork of colors, and you're like, guys, this can't be on accident.
Come on, guys.
But that's the thing. I don't think it's on accident. I think they're very, very... Because I've interacted with the U.S. marketing team from Chiappa, and they're very aware of what the Chiappa Rhino is in the U.S. market. So I think that shit's on purpose. And if it is, fucking hands off to you guys. That's clever as fuck.
I mean, honestly, yeah. If it is.
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect marketing.
God. Damn, we didn't even talk about lever guns. I forgot about Ross.
They're awesome.
Now I feel bad.
And
I love those.
In the story.
I get those passing through our auction house all the time, and I'm always playing with them. I'm like, this is a nice... Oh, it's a Rossi.
Yeah, it is a nice Rossi. Yeah. It's Brazilian.
I like this.
It's like a Winchester with... Never mind. I'm glad I didn't finish that sentence. Anyway, they're really good guns, guys. They are really good guns.
Winchester, that makes sense.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to make mine was going to be a reference to like how hot Brazilian women are. So, but anyway, you guys work that out in your heads, like you guys all out there.
Yes, insert Brazilian lady joke. Perfect. All right. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. We would love to have you back on to talk about more in-depth lever gun autism and maybe a little bit more regular autism. But
maybe even trains.
Yeah.
Or planes.
Okay, wait, hang on. I have a trains thing that. So if you have a kid, and you also understand how autistic like a lot of gun people are. So when my kid was from about 2 to 4, he was obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine. So I did, because I'm his father and I want to care about the things that he cares about, I did a deep dive into the Thomas the Tank Engine wiki. Okay, I have read so many entries on the Thomas the Tank Engine Wikipedia that like I know like the models of trains that characters were based on. I know the history of Chinese railway development because there's a character in Thomas called Young Bao that is a goddamn Chinese tiger train that my son was obsessed with. So I need to know these obsessions. That's the kind of autism that makes people get really into revolvers.
This is why you have to buy Taurus. Autistic people are making your guns.
I just miss when they used to run the trains into one another. It was a spectacle.
Oh yes.
Okay? I just want that back.
Anyways, guys, watch Thomas the Tank Engine.
Woot woot.
Sorry. Caleb's just going to bring up the autism revolver. It's like, and this was for me.
And so we did this because it scratched the itchy part of my brain.
The revolver that could.
It is the 856, the executive grade. It's the revolvers that could. Oh, Taurus isn't good. Yes, we are. Here you go.
We made the thing. All right. Well, Caleb, seriously, thank you so much.
No, thanks, guys. This was a lot of fun. I had a blast.
Incredible. We'll have to get you back on in the future. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so
stuff that you do.
If you want to follow any of the Taurus content, TaurusUSA.com is our big website, obviously. Taurus, if you go on any of the social media apparati and search for Taurus USA, that'll get you to us. We actually do a ton of content. We have a ton of educational content on our YouTube channel. We're also, all of our educational videos, because YouTube sucks, are cross-posted on MakeReady.tv. So go to MakeReady.tv. They host all of the Taurus educational content as well as tons of educational content from other creators. And then if you want to follow me, you can search for Caleb Shooting on Facebook. Search for Radicaleb. It's a portmanteau. That means 2 words jammed together, guys. It's a portmanteau of Radical and Caleb, which is my first name, on Instagram. And then I'm doing a ton of content on Substack. It's really been fun for me to start writing again, and because Substack is a subscriber platform, I can really kind of cut loose and be authentic out there. So it's radicaleb.substack.com. We do 4 free articles a month for free subscribers and 4 paid articles a month, and it's less than... do you guys know that the average cost of a meal at Five Guys is $20 these days? So for
that hurts me.
a fourth of the cost of Five Guys, you can get the 4 paid articles a month for me on Substack. So that's it. That's all of the fun places to find me. Or just catch me at a match.
Awesome. That too. That's good. I like that. All right.
How about that?
Well, once again, thank you so much. And Kevin, am I supposed to do anything like podcastery, or did I did the thing, right?
No, I thought of another slogan for Caleb right now. Catch me in a match.
Catch me outside. That? Yeah, that's where the catch me in a match came from. What you should tell him, Bryce, is that if they're listening to this on Apple or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that leaving a 5-star review and a typed review will do more to push that content in the algorithm than just listening, because Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcasts are currently not crushing gun content. So positive reviews will actually help push this podcast to other listeners who may be interested in it. I listen to a lot of gun related content, and and Apple recommends other gun podcasts to me. That doesn't happen on YouTube. You can watch YouTube videos about guns all you want, and it's going to be like, you should watch the Avengers Doomsday trailer for the 47th time. I'm like,
have you thought about wood turning?
I'm like, no, I haven't actually.
The recommendations aren't like terrible, but they are trying to skew you away from guns.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. I am a man of the people.
I'm very much appreciate it. I guess we'll have to redo a new outro.
Man of the people.
Been due for a while. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this beautiful, wonderful, incredibly confusing episode of the Carry Handle Podcast. Once again, thank you to Caleb for coming on, and I am going to try and find our old outro. Eventually, we'll have a new one where I say all the appropriate things that he just told us.
Roll the outro. Roll the outro. Roll the outro.
Right.
Roll the outro.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. You should like and subscribe.
On Facebook and Instagram.
And Twitter and Spotify. You should listen there too. If you
aren't they
heard
listening
this on Spotify.
to this on Spotify right now?
Well, they could be, but there's also YouTube podcasts. So, all of the places.
We always forget where we post this stuff.
We don't know where this is. Thank you for listening wherever you're listening to, but you should also like the other places that we are. And
Who are we and what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know how we got here. So thank you for letting us talk directly into your ear holes.
Right to the brain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Adios.